Welcome to the Lou Blakely Show. You're in the right place if you're a service provider who is ready to transition into a more freedom-based business model with digital products. In this podcast, I share with you a unique combination of launch strategy, energetics, and mindset to create true, long-lasting success. It's time to ditch the burnout for good, create the business that you truly want, and share it with the world. Let's get started. Welcome to the Lou Blakely Show. This is episode 4. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to thank everyone who listened in on my podcast launch last week. It was such an amazing feeling to finally get this podcast launched and off the ground. And I got so many amazing messages, some cool reviews, and just generally it was definitely a good time. In fact, I underestimated how great it would feel to get this thing off the ground. So thank you for being part of it. And if you haven't managed to listen to the first 3 episodes yet, go and have a listen. I'm aiming to make them short and concise for now, at least, so they're all less than 15 minutes long. So this week I'm going to be talking about something that comes up a lot with digital product offer creation. So the episode is titled How I Knew It Was Time to Retire My First Online Course. And I really dig into my story of my first online course here and what led me to make this decision. So here's what generally happens. You create an offer, you launch it a few times, and then something happens. At least this is what happened to me. And then it kind of fizzles out. It's not that it's a failure and it hasn't sold, because it has, but something else is happening with you that you can't quite put your finger on. So usually this feeling is also accompanied by a general feeling of not being motivated, not really wanting to launch again, even though you know how to launch successfully. So you know you should launch because it brings in the revenue and you enjoy the whole experience to a point, but there's something there that you can't quite put your finger on. So what is this? It's called being out of alignment. And it's the reason that I decided to retire my first online course. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about how I came to realize that I was out of alignment with my course, and as a result of that, it was causing me to not want to launch it, which is not good. And also some common signs that you're not aligned with your offer. So maybe there's something that I'm going to say today that's going to resonate with you based on your existing product. And I'm also going to share with you a few things that you can do if you've realized that what you're offering doesn't feel good to you anymore. So let's dig into the story of my first online course and how I realized I was out of alignment with it after a few rounds. So at first, I definitely wasn't out of alignment at all. Okay, so I just want to be clear on that. I was not out of alignment with this offer at the start because I was so excited about creating an online course. At this point, I think it was 2017, I'd actually already been helping. I was working as a digital marketer, I had an agency, and I was actually helping people in the coaching space and also in the marketing space create and launch their own digital products. And I really loved this industry, hence why I'm here today. And I wanted my own piece of it. I wanted to create a digital product as well as helping other people actually launch theirs. So I picked my topic. At that point, I was a general digital marketer. So I did a lot of work in all types of marketing, from social media, SEO, Facebook ads, content, literally all of it. And I actually loved all of it. So when I decided to start an online course, I knew that I had to narrow this down and actually pick one topic, because you just can't create an online course about all of that. They're all like specialist skills in themselves. So I created a course. It was called SEO Sorted. So obviously it was all about SEO. Now, why did I pick this topic? I picked the topic because, first of all, I was good at SEO. I had helped many businesses back for when I was an employee as well. I'd helped many businesses rank internationally, so I knew how to do this. And I could also see how much confusion and resistance to SEO there was in the kind of entrepreneurial space. Like, there was so many people who were so confused by it. I think I saw it as a bit of a low-hanging fruit type offer because people needed help and there wasn't that much competition in that area. There are a lot of kind of like sharks in the SEO space, and no one was really explaining it simply in a way that people could actually do it themselves and learn how to do it themselves. And I knew this was totally possible. So I did see an opportunity there. And I also really did want to help people because I just want to help people when I see them struggling with something that I know how to fix. It's in my nature, right? So that was another part of it as well. It's not like I didn't want to help people. So what I did is I pre-sold the course initially, which I highly recommend, by the way. And I think I made 8K on my first launch, and I was pumped. Like, I was excited about this. So then I went about creating it, which was a mammoth task, I'm not going to lie. And then I launched it again and again over a period of around 18 months. And in total, it made me around 6 figures, just over 6 figures, which is not bad for a first product. But after the first 3 or 4 launches, I really started to notice a few things. So booking in my next launch, or actually making moves to do my next launch, I started to notice that I was procrastinating a lot. Now, procrastination to a point is pretty normal, okay? We all do it. But there was something deeper than that, and I knew it was more than that. And then when I finally did come to launching it, I wasn't giving it my all anymore. So here's some few things that I noticed, and maybe I really think what I'm going to talk about differentiates between that procrastination and knowing it's much deeper than that. So firstly, I didn't really want to be known as the SEO expert. I knew I was so much more than that because I'm multi-passionate. You've just heard that I knew how to do all of those different things in marketing. And I didn't like how restricted it felt when people referred to me as an expert in SEO. The thing was, I had an SEO challenge that I ran as my pre-launch event, and this had become quite well known. Like, people actually started to know me for that challenge because it was really good. In fact, it was pretty much a course in itself. So that really should have been the product, to be honest. So people did start to know me as the SEO person, and when anyone would say this to me, I actually cringed a little bit. I was going through quite a lot in my personal life at this stage, and I'd also just started training to be a life coach, so I was being introduced to a whole new world. I was going through a lot of personal development, and SEO just didn't seem like a topic that I wanted to be known for. It didn't seem purposeful enough for me. So the next sign for me that I was out of alignment was that some of the content needed to be updated inside the course. You know, as it does, being in digital marketing, things change a lot, and being willing to update stuff or like content inside your course is actually kind of a part of the course when it comes to online marketing. But what I realized is that I would rather like eat my own hand than update it. I just didn't want to do it because it really bored me. I realized that I'd rather be doing something else, and this right here is a sign that your passion is no longer big enough, okay? Another flag or red flag was that I saw other people in the industry who were teaching SEO and who were really successful at it, making millions out of their courses and dominating the industry and doing really well. And while I admired them, I certainly did not want to be like them, and I almost felt sorry for them that they had to talk about SEO all day. I also wondered, is that enough for them? Like, this was a really big sign that I shouldn't continue down this road. Like, this one, I think, is a huge red flag. So if you're looking at other people in your industry and you almost feel sorry for them, like, we talk about so much, not, you know, collaboration over competition, all of that kind of thing. But there's always going to be an element where you see a competitor that, you know, you aspire to be, like increase your own results by looking at them, get inspired by them. But in this case, I actually felt sorry for my competition. So I didn't even want to compete with them. So the next one was I also recognised that for this course to really take off, that should really niche. Should, not a good word, but anyway, that I really should niche my whole business down to SEO in order to become really known as the expert and own the space. Again, I did not want to do that. I physically couldn't make that happen. It was the opposite of what I wanted. Like, I physically felt a resistance in my body. So I knew that I could launch this product again and again because I'd already created it, plus, update a few things here and there as I needed to, because all the major work of creating the product and the offer, which is basically the marketing and positioning of it, were all done. But for the reasons I've just mentioned, I just didn't want to. I couldn't actually show up to a launch and give it my all. I found that I was actually self-sabotaging in my launches because I just didn't have enough passion for it. So after realizing this topic wasn't something that I was passionate about, at least not enough to focus my business on it, I decided to retire it. I did one last offer of it for a Black Friday special at a really low price, and then I closed the doors for good. And I have never looked back. Absolutely no regrets. So I truly believe that to be really successful at launching in the long term, being energetically aligned to your course topic, what you're teaching and how you're teaching it, is absolutely key. It doesn't mean that once you find this sweet spot of alignment that you'll stay there forever, as we all go through changes with our interests and passions, and no offer will be out there for sale forever. But if you're wondering why you're really struggling with launching your offer, even though it's sold successfully in the past, my story might just give you some insight. So if you relate to any of that, then it's very possible that you're out of alignment. Just to summarize that, there's some common signs, that you're out of alignment. So that you look at other people in your industry who sell offers that are identical to yours or very similar, and you don't have any interest in being inspired by them or wanting to compete with them. You also have this yearning that that you're here for a bigger purpose, and what your subject is on just feels too small. That was huge for me, massive. I just knew in my gut that I had a bigger purpose in my life than creating an online course around SEO or being the expert in SEO. Another sign that you're out of alignment is that when you think about launching again, you have some kind of resistance show up physically in your body, even though you're usually motivated in general and you're a person who gets stuff done. So if you're a person that makes stuff happen, but yet you're finding this resistance in this particular thing, then notice that over time and notice where it comes up in your body. Another sign is that you've got everything you need to make it happen, yet you still just don't want to do it. So maybe you've done the course on launching, you have a coach who's helping you do it, but you've got everything and you still don't want to do it. You've really got to look at that resistance and see why, rather than just try and push through all the time. Another sign is that you just don't want to be known for that particular offer or subject. You know that you've got way more to offer than that, and that's definitely something that showed up for me. And when you really dig deep, you know that you would rather be teaching on another topic, but maybe it just feels a bit edgy and scary for you to step into that space. And maybe you don't quite feel brave enough at the time that you deciding what your topic was on. Maybe you didn't feel brave enough to step into that and make it happen and really own it. But in hindsight, you should have just done the thing. If you recognize yourself in any of this, what can you actually do? Like, obviously, I retired my SEO course, and that was definitely the best decision for me at the time. But I think everyone's on their own journey here, and you've got to kind of decide what's best for you. So I do think there's a bit of a scale of how out of alignment you are. So is it making you feel physically ill when you think about your next launch? I'm a true believer that resistance will show up in our body. I've done quite a lot of somatic work, and I know that where we hold tension and stuff in our body is so, it's such a telltale sign that things aren't right. So when you think of your existing online offer and you're not sure if it's in alignment, but you've you're experiencing resistance, what kind of feeling is showing up in your body and where is it showing up? Okay, so just tap into that. If you're feeling that physical sensation, then it's likely that you are quite out of alignment. So you have a decision to make. Do you retire the offer? Or is it that you just need to make some tweaks to the offer because there's just some part of it that doesn't align, like maybe there's multiple parts of the offer? Or is there something missing? Could you add in something that's really going to bring your passion back to it, but it's still going to be part of what you're offering before? That can work really well. Another option is that this feeling of being out of alignment is because this is actually the only thing in your business right now. You do actually quite like the offer, you're still in alignment with it, but there's another whole side of you that wants to be offering something different as well, and you could potentially have two offers. I mean, most people do have multiple offers, so maybe you're just relying on one offer to give you satisfaction, purpose, and alignment in your business, when really you can branch out and have more than one offer, and that thing that you're craving to create, like you can keep the one that you've already got, keep launching it, or maybe it's a membership and it's got people in it, you can just keep it running and at the same time work on bringing a new offer that feels really exciting for you. I actually don't believe that you're going to get your offer right the first time. I feel like it will, most people will create multiple offers before they land on the offer that just really ticks all the boxes for them. So could it be that you just need to create that other offer and keep the one that you've already got where it is, because it is working in some sense? So that's if you're like feeling slightly out of alignment with your business, but your offer doesn't make you cringe like mine did, okay? So there's a few options here, but the main thing is that you don't just keep going with what you've already got in place when energetically it's off for you. We all benefit from changing things up and some fresh energy, and I definitely recommend that if you resonated with any of this, that taking some form of action and moving in a direction that you feel is going to be closer to alignment for you, then definitely make that happen. So there's a few options here based on where you are on the scale of how out of alignment you are, but the main thing is that you don't just keep going with what you've already got in place when energetically it's off for you. So I recommend fully trusting yourself here. If you were to be living your absolute best life, what would you be doing? So tap into your higher self and let that lead the way. If I had done that when creating my SEO course, truthfully, I wouldn't have gone ahead with it. But I'm also hugely grateful for the lessons it brought me, and I would definitely do it again just for that. So if you recognize you're out of alignment, just recognize that this acknowledgement of realizing this is an extremely positive thing. Because once you have this awareness, you will never go back. Instead, you'll forge ahead and really find your true passion. And bringing that to the world is going to be a gift to you and help you fully step into your purpose. Not to mention how amazing it will be for your students to learn from someone who is fully owning their gifts, their purpose, and their true calling in life. That kind of energy is truly magnetic. So when you're thinking about what to create, don't discount what your soul is telling you, because if you don't create it now, that feeling inside of you won't go away. I hope you found this episode useful. If you've got any big takeaways, head over to Instagram and find me at @LouiseBlakely_. Thanks for being here, and see you next time. Thanks, course creators and go-getters. You're incredible, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe in your podcast app so you don't miss an episode. If you'd like to find out more about what I offer, head across to loublakely.com. See you next time.